This is my 2001 Pontiac Aztek. What I have been working on is my front timing cover seal on this. So this will kind of just be a talk through on how to take it all apart. I'm obviously in the middle of putting it back together. First thing you want to do is verify that it actually indeed is your front timing cover seal, and the best way to do that is to get a pressurized pump system and put it here on your radiator. Pressurize the system by pumping it up a few times and see where the leak is coming from. Mine was coming from the front timing cover seal. These things are also known and are notorious for head gasket and intake manifold gasket leaks as well. But I've already replaced those, so I knew those were good. So when this thing blew, it's kind of a disappointment, but what do? You know? You gotta fix it. So that's what I'm doing. Fixing it. First thing you're going to do, like I said, is pressurize the system. Make sure that the leak's coming from the front. Mine obviously was. Second thing you're going to do after you verify that is take off your battery post right here. I had hooked mine back up to reconnect my alarm, but the first thing you want to do is disconnect the power for your car. Take that off. You want to disconnect this electrical connection here that plugs in here and is fastened around this way. Also disconnect it from up here as well and kind of be able to pull it out of the way. Disconnect your alternator wire, which is a 13 millimeter bolt that goes into the back of there. Then after that's disconnected and the electrical plug here in the back of the alternator is disconnected, you'll pull all that stuff up and out of the way. Then next thing I would work on is the serpentine belt. Allow enough slack with your ratcheting 3/8 drive to pull it up, and then when you release and move the belt and release it, that it doesn't get hung up back here anywhere near the firewall. Take the serpentine belt off. Then try and loosen up the bolts for the power steering. There's a 5/8 bolt for the line out, the high pressure line, and then the return line should just be a one of these down here. I switched over to an L. So either way, you disconnect those two. Then you'll take the wheel for the power steering pump, spin it around to where you can get to these three bolts here. They're all 13 millimeter bolts. So disconnect those, pull those through, and then your power steering will be ready to pull up and out of there after you disconnect the low pressure line. The high pressure line should just pull down through the bottom. Pull the power steering pump off. Hang on a second, we'll come back to this in a minute. Okay, had to get the phone there. Alright, anyway, after you get the power steering pump off there, you're going to want to take out these front bolts here, loosen up these. One side's 13, the other side's a 15. Take out the top ones on each side here. That'll let you move this engine back and forth, which I'm not going to do right now because I've got something wedged in there. But anyway, it'll let you move the engine forward a little bit to get this back to alternator bolts that are on the very back of here. One will go here, one will go through there, and on the other side, and that'll hold that. So you'll want to take those two out. You may not be able to take them all the way out, but you'll at least be able to take them out all the way through the threads. You'll take out the 15 millimeter bolt that goes all the way through here and through the bracket, along with the nut that goes on top of this stud right here that holds on the mounting bracket for the alternator. So you'll get the alternator taken out, move it aside, and there'll be four 15 millimeter bolts holding on the alternator bracket. One will be underneath the alternator going straight down. Then there'll be one here, and another one all the way down there. So you'll remove that, and that'll remove the alternator bracket and the engine mount piece that's on the side of it. Pull that all out of the way, and then you're into this. You'll want to remove this lower radiator hose by crimping this back off and sliding it down, taking off this if you have it, along with the top piece to be able to remove this metal bracket here. As I said earlier, this one's actually in the process of going back together, so I'm just trying to explain it to how to get it apart. There's an 8mm bolt that you'll take that off here, and then this whole thing after that's removed, and this piece here, if you have it, for the oil cooler, you'll be able to move it up and out of the way. So, lift it up, move it out of the way. That'll allow you to move the front timing cover seal once you get to that point. In order to get, one of the first things you want to do is after you get all that off there, you'll have the mount off there. You'll take off this lower pulley, idler pulley that goes on here. Right there, that'll come off. Then you'll start working on taking off the harmonic balancer, or at least the harmonic balancer bolt. In order to do that, you'll need to stick a wedge underneath the engine here. I took the cover plate off for the flywheel that goes to the transmission there, and was able to put a wedge in there, and that would allow me to spin that free and break it loose. And let's see what else is up here. I had to take off my passenger wheel, put it on a jack stand, and take off this cover plate, and that allows you access into the harmonic balancer. Threaded then used my harmonic balancer puller to pull off the harmonic balancer after I got the nut loose, and there's 3 bolts that'll thread through on the harmonic balancer that allow you to hook on the claw. You'll tighten the claw down and it'll draw the harmonic balancer out and loose. And anyway, there's several 13mm or 13mm bolts and several 10mm bolts that hold on the front timing cover seal. I'll kind of give you an overview of where those bolts are at. 13mm right down here, 13mm there, 10mm there, there. Also down another bolt that's tucked underneath there. You will not have to remove the water pump. That's something you will have to take off, but you may want to remove the pulley that goes along with it. I did it just to gain me some extra clearance. There and up there, there. You have to remove the crank trigger, the crank positioning sensor right here. There's 2, I think 8 or 10mm bolts that'll hold that on there, along with removing that bracket there as well. It's really not all that complicated. It's just time consuming. The gasket itself only ran me like $10, so easy to purchase, and everything just time consuming to put in. I went ahead and put a new harmonic balancer seal for the lower piece here, timing cover, which is included with the Velcro gasket set that I bought for like $10. Imagine that cheap gasket set. Days worth of work getting it done. But anyway, I'm in the process of getting it all put back together. Kind of hammered the harmonic balancer in with a wooden block enough to get it to where I could start the bolt, and that's where I'm at right now. So I guess I'll continue on with the how to put it all back together after I clean off the surface of the front timing cover seal. I kind of push that edge in and down in order to get the seal covered up and sealed in there for that seal, because there's a like a grooved U-shaped gasket, a rubber reusable gasket that seals that front timing cover seal with the oil pan, which is a little bit tricky to kind of get the seal pushed down in there to where it wouldn't leak. and positioned right, but I was able to get it back in there and tighten back down on there, along with some new gasket. I put sealant on both sides of it just to make sure it makes a good seal. I do not want it leaking again. Wedge that piece in there, and now I'm in the process of torquing this down and on the right. So I'll go ahead and get that all torqued down on there and move on to the next step, which will be reassembling the front of the engine here. I'm kind of long-winded explaining this, but if you have any questions or comments, whatever, leave me one in the comment section down below, and I'll get your problem fixed as well. So I'm going to continue on with my problem and get this fixed. Alright, here's where I am now. I've got this alternator bracket hooked up. There is a bolt down there, another bolt on the other side, and a bolt down there, and then the bolt that goes all the way through here. So actually it's 1, 2, 3, and then there's one that goes all the way through the bottom end of the head going down. Then there's 3 bolts holding on the alternator. The one back here, and I'm not sure how well it's going to focus. That's how the bracket's set in there like that. Now I can hook on my positive cable for the alternator lead and the wires that connect into the back for the exciter wire and such, and voltmeter and things. Anyway, this is all hooked in there, so I guess now the next thing I'm going to do is start maneuvering the power steering pump into position, getting the low pressure line in there, and then I'll have to thread in the high pressure line there, which is always kind of a chore to do because they're fine threads, a little bit difficult to do, but I'll get it finished in there. So let's get this all hooked back in and hopefully get this thing fired up. And one other note is that I do have my ratchet strap kind of tied around here to keep the motor pulled this way, that way a little bit, in order to get to those back bolts for the alternator, because they are a little bit tight fit next to that firewall. So I can go ahead and release this and rehook this line that goes through here, because I disconnected it for that. They were pulling forward. From here. Okay, here it is. Finally back on here. I had to remove this idler pulley in order to tighten up that 5/8 nut for the high pressure line on the bottom end of that power steering pump. I had to thread one of these bolt holes that go through through that way right here in, so that way it'd semi-line up so I could get that stupid thing threaded in there. Man, I knew that was going to be a pain in the ass, and it sure as hell was. Ugh, man, I hate doing that end of this. I've done this a few times. I'm doing that head gasket and stuff, but man, what a pain in the ass that is. And then I had to thread this line in here and then tighten up that alligator clamp that I've got holding on the low pressure line. So, oh my gosh, what a pain in the butt that was. But it's on there. Got all 3 of the bolts threaded through here. All you got to do is just kind of turn this around until you find the, you can put your finger through it and then just kind of feel where the hole goes all the way through and into the power steering pump. That's on there. Idler pulleys back on there. I'm going to go ahead and get the serpentine belt all routed through here. Here is a diagram of the serpentine belt routing right here. So kind of a long, windy road to go through. Then I'm going to put the water pump pulley back on there and finish snapping all the connectors on there. I do need to go ahead and connect on my power line for the alternator and such, but I'm getting to it one step at a time. Anyway, let's move on to the next step and cut to a video after that. Alright, it's all done. All I got to do now is just take it off the jack stand and it's finished. Tighten up that passenger side front wheel. I got the alternator, put it back on there, power steering's on, the serpentine belt's all routed in there. Again, there's the routing diagram for it. Had it fired up and everything. Let's see.